Hello and welcome to the CRM Zen Show where we talk about all things Zoho. This is episode 233. Zoho got a book job, recorded on Friday, January 13th, 2023 from Zenatta Consulting. I'm Brett Martin.
And I'm Tyler Colt, and let's get right on into the show.
Yes, we shall. My goodness, I am back from a
Back in the
very
saddle.
long, yes, very long vacation. It was great. Unfortunately, I flew back on Wednesday, Tyler, and the FAA had just a
All flights
little
were
problem
grounded.
on Wednesday. You may have read about that. So my lovely flight that was supposed to get in at about 5 o'clock at night into LAX ended up getting into LAX closer to 10, and then luggage, and then everything else, and then back, and da. So yes, I'm getting home about midnight. It was a fun time.
Fun times.
But we made it. It was a great trip. Anyway, love Florida. Love the Caribbean. So that's what I did. It was good. So thanks for holding down the fort, buddy. Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
absolutely. Good to have you back.
All right. Well, with that, let's get right on into the news, shall we? Let's not. Let's not get into the news. Let's get into the announcements and events. Boy, I'm gone for a couple weeks. I can't even get the order of the show
Falls
down.
apart, doesn't it?
Get right on into the announcements and events. Still a little slow. I was reading this morning. It appears next Tuesday, Tyler, we're doing the 2023 Zoho One Full Product Overview webinar.
That we are.
Are we going to try to break a record this year? And that means we have to sit down this week and kind of make sure we've got all the yes, no, maybes in proper order, huh?
Yeah, I made some adjustments to it while you were gone, so I think it should be pretty buttoned up, but we will have to see. And then I guess we will need to prepare for that bad boy, huh?
I guess so. Well, an hour and wow. Anyway, that's a great one. Last one I think was an hour and 13 minutes. But if you're unfamiliar with that, Tyler and I run through all 50, 60 apps, 40 apps, whatever's part of Zoho One right now. And we'll tell you if they're good, they're bad, they're getting there, and our thoughts on them and how they fit into the overall Zoho ecosystem and what the benefits are and all that kind of stuff. So check that out. That seems to be a fan favorite every year. I think between the last two where it's, 50, 60,000 views. So thank you guys for supporting that. And then kind of as January rolls on, Creator's got a little thing going on January 19th. It's Creator Tech Connect. You can that's going to be at early 7:30 a.m. Pacific time if you want to watch that. If you're on the East Coast, make it a little easier for you. And then you've got digital certificate-based signatures in Zoho Sign. That's going to be a webinar on January 1st, and that's going to round out January. And then there's a whole bunch of customer experience workshops that are happening in February. And then I guess, Tyler, we're going to do on February 21st our complete Zoho CRM full product tutorial. And then in March, we're going to do Desk. And that kind of brings you up to speed. And then Zoholics has officially dropped. That is at the end of the year. It is in Pleasanton, California, Jersey City, New Jersey, and Austin, Texas. I think our plan is to, I don't know if we're even allowed to go to these. We've talked about this in the past.
I think we were strongly discouraged. Essentially, we can buy a ticket and they might let us in, but only if not enough customers come. So I don't know if we're going to make it out to these, unfortunately.
Yep. So you can complain to the Zoho team for their poor choice in setting this up this year, but these are usually good events. So if you want to meet some Zoho people, you want to meet some Zoho employees, you want to hear them kind of go through some product overviews and talk about those kind of things, they do a very good job. So go ahead and drop into any of these cities if they're near you and check them out. All right. And hopefully next year, guys, let's return to old Zoho.
Yeah, maybe let us in next year, but
maybe let us, in, meet the people, So anyway,
hang out outside, right, and meet people as they walk in. That's about it.
Well, maybe we should just show up, Tyler. Why don't we just show up in
Undercover,
Austin?
like the Groucho Marx mask, so they can't tell it's
We could
us.
show up
Right?
at Austin. We could rent a huge hospitality suite at like a hotel next to the venue, right? And then we could just say, "Hey guys, come on up, talk to us." That could be fun. Who knows? All right. With that, guys, let's jump right on into the news. And Zoho is introducing a slightly refreshed design to Zoho Books, consequently the title of our show. Got a little makeover here. This is just really minor cosmetic stuff. I don't know. I kind of looked at it's nice. I just
Yeah,
it did
new kind of like menu bars. I think they're trying to just make more of like the settings and menus look the same between different applications. So nice little updates. They teased me. I thought it was a full dark mode if you scroll up a little, but it's not. You can make the left
the
panel
sidebar.
dark. You can make the
Yes.
sidebar dark. I got very excited when I saw that, and then learned that my excitement
Yeah.
was a little misplaced. So you can do the sidebar as dark mode, but not the rest of the app. Yeah, I mean,
And
I think this stuff is good. Minor changes, not going to change anybody's life, but onward and upward, it looks cleaner than it did before.
yeah, it's nice. I just so minor. And the funny thing is, my sidebar has always been dark, evidently,
Could have been
or it defaulted to dark because I never noticed the difference. But when I was, I saw this and I went over and looked at books to see what it looked like, and my sidebar was already dark. So maybe it was light before it. I didn't notice it, and now it's dark, and I just never really noticed it because it's not really that striking a change, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, that's that. All right. And with that, let's get on to the rest of the news here. You can now have colored tags in Zoho Recruit. I decided to leave this in because when they added colored tags to CRM, I thought it was like, well, who cares? And I love the colored tags. I think they're super, super helpful. I think, the colored pick list, the colored tags, all of these little things, they seem like minor, minor changes, but they're helpful. And so if you haven't played with this in CRM, now you've got it over in Zoho Recruit,
Yeah.
which is basically CRM repurposed.
I think that's nice with the tags being color coded is that they show up in like custom views and lists. You can have these color coded tags show up. So if you're kind of scanning through records, it can be a nice identifier, to just be able to quickly find something that's tagged a certain way. So
Yeah.
again, nothing earth shattering, but definitely nice to have for those who are over in Zoho Recruit.
Yeah. I would say that these, books and this recruit, these are not major changes, but nice little, we're starting off the year slow. We're easing in, just, changing some colors, doing those kind of things. So,
There you go.
all right. And then, man, I never thought we'd talk about Puvi again, but I am so happy that we get to talk about Puvi. If you don't know, Puvi is Zoho's official font. When did we talk about it, Tyler? 2 years ago? It seems
A
like
while back
forever.
now. It was a while back,
Yeah.
maybe early 2022,
Yeah.
about a year back.
Yeah. So I don't know. This is anyway. Puvi is Zoho's official font, and now it is coming to the CRM across the board. Small change. Previously, they've been using a font called Lato, and now they are moving to their own design font called Puvi. If you are watching us on YouTube right now, the differences are extremely minute. It seems like Lato has a slightly more compressed O. It also has the more fancy swirly G as opposed to Puvi. Other than that, wow, there just doesn't seem to be much. So I don't even think anybody will notice. I think this is going to be such a
No,
small.
I think people have noticed. I noticed
Really,
it when I opened it up before I even saw the news. The spacing is a little different too between like the letters. I think it looks nice. Obviously, again, like we're
it
mentioning with these
does.
other ones, it's nothing crazy, but it is nice. They also did with this font update sneak in like a few other little UI changes. Like on workflows and like your module layouts, they've adjusted some of the background colors to be a little more blue, a little less kind of like yellow tinted, which I think looks nice. But yeah, minor change. It's very Zoho to make your own font. They've always been a build it yourself type of company, so it's pretty on brand.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
I think
it
I think it
seems
looks
like
good.
when I'm looking at the before and the after pictures here, um, I don't know. Does it seem like it's a little tighter? Maybe like you're able to fit more in with
Yeah, a
Puvi?
little tighter. If you scroll down a little, this first image is probably the hardest to see the difference. Some of these, yeah, I mean, still a little background color changes, font
Yeah.
sizing changes, just minor things.
Well, it
But
just seems like if I look at the old, like if you're watching this again, so when you're looking at a deal, if you're listening to us, it'll have the person, the name of the deal, and the amount of the deal. It seems like the font's slightly smaller. I mean,
mm,
I don't know. These are just two images, so that might not even work. These could be slightly different size when they put them in here. Anyway, we'll play around with it, but it's a good font. I just and I guess it's nice to have their own font. So There you go. Totally
Why
cool.
not?
Yeah. All righty. And with that, you can now get early access to Voice a Customer. We talked about this several months ago. Zoho's been rolling this out. I thought this was available, but I guess not. You can apply for early access to Voice a Customer. Was it in beta before, and now it's early access? Is that what
I
we're
think it
moving
was
to?
like beta for partners. It went to like a partner rollout and they started teasing it, but now you're able to apply for early access. Voice of the
So
customer is essentially like an AI technique that's used to scan inbound communications and outbound communications to gauge customer sentiment on certain topics, areas, maybe points of feedback where you're not having to do all of that analysis yourself. So it's pretty powerful. I think I probably put this asterisk on like every Zia and AI thing that we talk through on the show is that it's going to get better and better over time, right? Machine learning models just need to be trained. So when you turn this on initially, you might see some funny stuff, like sentiment being not quite right, or maybe it's identifying some erroneous job titles for people, things like that. But if you give it the feedback and stick with it, you'll probably see some benefits to this over time.
yeah. So like you said, basically just reading, scanning emails, scanning communications, and trying to determine if your customer is happy or sad.
Yep.
And from there we go. So anyway, that is available. There is a form you can now click in. It's an interest form you will have to check off. So if you go to the link, it'll be on the newsletter. You can click this interest form and sign up for it. It's also got documentation and it's got a video overview. So they give you those resources basically here in the first part of this article, and then they kind of go into some deep use cases. So take a look at this. This could be something that is huge. I think it could be really interesting for managers down the road because you maybe don't know that a customer's upset. You don't know that there's something going on down the road. You're not understanding the communication between maybe a customer service rep and a client. And
Yeah.
maybe they're not particularly doing things the way you want. Maybe it's a good client. So the fact that you can flag this stuff and let other people in the organization know that potentially there's trouble here, I feel there's a lot of value in this down the road. So
Yeah, I
we'll
think you
see.
kind of hit the nail on the head, right? Like figuring out if there's some sentiment issues that just aren't serious enough to get escalated, right? Where you might just have never heard about them because they're not mad enough, right? To go full nuclear, so a manager might not hear about it. This kind of gives you that insight.
Yeah, I think this is going to lead to a lot of teachable moments. Let's look at this as a teachable moment, shall we? You shouldn't have called the customer an idiot. Okay, we have to go on.
Try not
Yeah,
to. Try not
small
to.
little teachable moments. I bet you it looks for the word idiot, flags that. You know what I mean? Probably. All right, and moving right along, you've now got enhancements to Motivator. You've got hierarchy-based targets, dashboard reordering, and more. For those of you that are not familiar, Zoho Motivator is a part of Zoho CRM that allows you to motivate people by creating games based on targets, emails replied to, tasks completed, deals closed. You can go on and on with this. It's always been inside CRM. They used to have a standalone tool called Motivator, which was deprecated a couple years ago, that would tie all this stuff in. It's kind of cool. You can send it to a TV. You can broadcast this channel across your bullpen. You can do all these kind of things. They haven't really made many changes to this, Tyler, since they kind of did it's
They
not
kind
a
of
separate app. So it's nice.
Yeah, they blended it into CRM a while back and have kind of just left it untouched. So, a couple updates here showing targets based on hierarchy. This is really nice. You might have different sales teams and you want to motivate them separately, right? So, if as long as you have your role hierarchy configured properly, then that'll kind of flow over to Motivator without needing to do any like additional filtering, right? Where you never want to be is you have a whole role hierarchy set up, but then to use it for reporting, you have to manually key in everybody's names as a filter, right? Because at that point, you're not using the structure that you've created. They're also now letting us reorder dashboard components. This is like something that should have just been there for V1. Pretty crazy
Absolutely.
that this wasn't around. We used to have a little joke segment about, man, I sure thought that was already there. This would have been in that category. Obviously,
Well,
you
because
need to be able to do
it
this.
exists all over the CRM for all of the other type of things, dashboards that you're building, right? So you
Yeah.
would think the kind of the main application for showing people dashboards, you'd be able to do this. So nice
Yeah.
though. Yeah. Really just some small little changes. I guess now the additional options for KPI and targets in the game menu, that'll be interesting. We'll have to play around with that. Because that's really what it all comes down to is the gamification. I mean, look, this is really cool. If you haven't played with this, and you have a sales team. I mean, not a lot of people are in office anymore, but that doesn't matter. You can still kind of broadcast this. Everybody can have it up on their own little side monitor if they want, and kind of
Yep.
see, what they're doing and how they're comparing with everybody else. And it's does it motivate people? Do people care if they're number one anymore? Well, maybe. So I don't know, but it's should everybody just get a trophy just for participating? I made a call today. I participated. I didn't
There you
sell
go.
anything. And we just pat them on the back and say, good job. We're going to give you a raise. So that's it. That's how it works. All right, moving right along. I'm just kind of rambling out there. Am I unhinged yet or just still slightly
No, I think
hinged?
you're mostly hinged.
Good. Appreciate mostly hinged. All right. Zoho Lens now has OCR and QR barcode scanning features. This is super cool. I can see how useful
Yeah.
this would be. This is part of, I guess it's standalone, but it is tech support. It's kind of like Zoho Assist. A lot of times you'll have Assist and Lens. You're talking to somebody who has this on their phone. They're actually able to show the technician what they're looking at. The technician can guide them through while they're doing that. I would imagine many times that a person might be looking at something and the tech would say, oh, would you scan that QR code? Would you scan that barcode? That's going to give me more information on the product. That would probably be very helpful to the tech. I'm sure that's what this was asked about. It could even be you're looking at an item, right? It's got a particular inventory identifier on it, right? All those kind of things. So this is nice. So if you're using this application, I can see how this could really be helpful.
Yeah, it's super slick. I mean, because you're already now like using the viewer's camera, and most phones have the ability to do this now. So being able to plug that in, I think like the OCR is pretty cool. You could scan and download certain text, but I think the QR and barcode is like the one out of the two here that a lot of people would end up using. Like, oh, you want me to help with this server rack you've got? Cool. Point the phone at the back and scan that little QR for me, and then now I have everything I need to help you.
So now I know what's
Really,
going on.
really,
Exactly.
really cool.
Yeah. Really, really slick. All right, and wrapping up the news, scores are now available as record fields. This has to do with all the multiple scoring rules that were added into Zoho CRM earlier this year,
Yep.
and they've made some minor enhancements. So talk about this, Tyler.
Yes, essentially, scoring rules have gone through kind of their own little story arc over the last year or so. So, Zoho did a lot to improve the ability to track different scoreable touch points in the CRM, especially tying into other Zoho applications like Desk and Campaigns and things like that. The big thing that they kind of goofed, to use a term here when they rolled this out, they basically made it so that the score values were not actually stored as a field on the record. Rather, they were stored in like this little widget. And that's all fine and well, but the big problem that presented is that, let's say I have a list of leads and I'm filtering for last activity time more than 7 days ago, and I want to call the most engaged ones. I might include score as a column on that list so that I can sort it from highest score to lowest score. So as I'm starting with these leads that I haven't called in a while, I'll call the ones that are most engaged. So the problem is, up until they've re-rolled out this change, you actually couldn't include score in a list, in a custom list, as like a column. So it kind of just bricked the whole ability to actually do outreach based on the score value. So by re-adding these to the fields where they used to live before, we can now turn that back on for people.
Lovely. All right.
Yep, so they're unbreaking something
They
that was
unbroke what they had.
broken a little while back. Yeah.
Yeah. I love what they're doing with scores, though. I mean, gosh, we had so
Really
many clients.
powerful.
It's so powerful. Especially all the new tie-in with Zoho campaigns and the scoring that's now coming back from there. It's just so helpful in flagging a customer that's happy or sad, kind of going back to sentiment, if you should follow up with them, what's going on with them. And these scoring rules are great. All right. And with that, Tyler, let's get on into the implementation of the week.
Alrighty. So this is an implementation here that Josh actually built out for him and his wife's tea company. They have a little tea company, Kinleaf Teas. They're great. And Josh uses Zoho and Shopify to kind of manage and operate their little business. And so essentially, Josh had set up the initial connection between Shopify and inventory, and it's working well, right? Where your items are going to sync, your stock is going to sync, sales orders are going to get created as orders are placed in Shopify. But the main challenge here is that there are two key things that integration does not do. It does not properly manage your like accounts receivable or invoicing. And then it does not actually sync in fulfillments that are coming from Shopify into Zoho inventory. And so to solve for this, Josh essentially did two things. So first, he set up a custom function that runs on creation of a sales order that will automatically create an invoice and mark it paid. In this case, right, and I think for most people that are using Shopify, the order is only placed when it's fully paid. Right now, some people are going to do payment terms, payment over time. That might need to work a little separately. But again, most of the time, I'm buying a set of shoes or something on an e-commerce site, I'm paying fully upfront. And so he goes ahead and just automatically creates an invoice connected to that sales order and then logs the necessary payment for it. And then part two is, let's say, a couple days later, Josh is shipping this tee out. He actually set up a flow that looks into Shopify. And when a fulfillment is recorded in Shopify, it'll go ahead and find the matching sales order in inventory and create the package and shipment for that, along with the tracking number and really all that necessary information. So really, at the end of the day, creating these records essentially can just help to keep your accounting and physical stock keeping measurements accurate. For those who have kind of done deep dives into Zoho inventory, you'll know that, for example, physical stock does not actually go down until you've recorded a shipment for a record. And so if you have a sales order that comes in and you never create that shipment because you just fulfilled it via Shopify and kind of ignored the sales order, then technically speaking, if you were to pull like an inventory valuation report, Zoho is going to think you have more in your warehouse than you do. Kind of the same on the accounting side of the house. It's like, so you know that you have this confirmed sale, but it's definitely a best practice to finalize it and let Zoho know that it was also paid, right, via that invoicing side. So we've done this different type of thing in lots of different ways, shapes, and sizes. But this was just a really clean implementation of that integration. So we thought we would feature it here for you.
Yeah, nice. One we'll roll out to other clients. And if you have, what's the name of the tea company again, Tyler?
Kinleaf tea.
Spell that.
K-I-N leaf.
Kinleaf
tea. Really good teas. I've got one in my cabinet right now.
They're fantastic teas. I was just going to say, they're so good. So if you go to Kinleaf, is it kinleaftea.com? I think it is. We probably, head over there, check it out, support Josh and Violet. There we go. So cool stuff. All right. And with that, let's head over to Club Zenatta and talk about some code shares. All right. If you are not familiar, Club Zenatta is our community where we get together. You can ask questions, answer each other's questions, help each other. We answer some of the questions that you put in here actually over on this show. But we also have a lovely little section on here called Code Share. And inside this code share group is where our developers are dropping really nice little pieces of code that if you are using Deluge and working with Deluge and you may want to learn it or work with it, you can kind of just grab these. Oftentimes you have to make no modifications or just extremely minor modifications, and they will kind of get you going and working in the world of custom functions inside of Zoho. And today we've got two that are basically related to each other, Tyler. The first one is syncing CRM accounts and contacts to book customers and contact persons via API. And then the second one is sync CRM parent account contacts to book customers' child account. So why would you want to do this, and what is so cool about this?
Yeah, so Article 1 here, the syncing CRM accounts and contacts to books. This is kind of a two-part thing. I think even if you were just going to use the standard integration, this is a good write-up because the whole first chunk of it, Greg, is basically breaking down all the terminology between accounts, contacts, customers, contact persons, what they all mean, how they line up to each other. He also walks through here what the standard integration methods look like and why you would use each of those. And then essentially provides like the API endpoints that you would need if you needed to do anything custom. So essentially, this is kind of less of like a specific pre-built solution and more of like a So you've bumped into issues with the default integration. You need to do it yourself. Here's kind of the framework with which to do that. The second article or second code share is definitely more of like a plug and play option. So second code share basically being about tracking your parent accounts or parent account contacts within books. The use case here is, let's say that you have Zenatta International as a parent and Zenatta US as a child account. Maybe Zenatta US says, hey, please send all invoicing to accounting@zenattainternational.com, right? And that contact is technically related to the parent in CRM. But in order for you to invoice to it, it would need to also be connected to the child account inside of Books. So this is basically a plug and play function that would sync any contacts from your CRM parent account to the Books customer account for that like child record. So it's not going to sync the contacts in CRM because you don't really want to do that. You just need to have them available for invoicing in Books, and this will solve that for you.
Nice. And this is an example of copy and paste, right?
Essentially, I mean, you might need to change your org ID depending on where you plug it in, or you might be getting that dynamically here too, I would bet, if you're doing it in Books.
I think
so yeah, I mean, very unlikely that you're going to have to make many changes to this at all.
Yeah. Beautiful. And like I said, if you haven't, head over to club.zenatta.com and please join our community. Sign up for our newsletter. We have a general discussion area. We've got a Q&A for CRM Zen. This is where Tyler and I will answer your questions at the end of the show. Code share, video tutorial request. If you look at our YouTube channel and you're like, wow, I really wish they had a video on this, you can make a request. Most likely we'll do it. Sometimes we won't, but most likely we will. But it doesn't hurt to ask. Anyway, so check out club.zenatta.com. All we require is your email to log in, and it is free. And have some fun and check it out. We have a growing community, and really want to appreciate everybody's support. We launched this a year ago, and it's beyond, it's exceeded my wildest expectations. So thank you everybody for participating in club.zenatta. And with that, let's head over to our read of the week. All right. This just dropped this morning. It is over at HubSpot, and it is Lead Generation, a beginner's guide to generating business leads the inbound way. We're going to have another article we're going to write for them later, which is how to write titles for blogs. That is not how you write a title, but generating inbound leads is so important. It is, and this is a nice read that really kind of talks about why you want to do inbound lead generation. So what's an inbound lead? That means somebody emails you, somebody calls you, they discovered you, and they're just reaching out to you saying, wow, we've identified you as an expert in this area and we need your help. So much easier than, sitting on the phone and doing outbound or constantly prospecting and going out. So this is just an entire strategy on how to basically create market qualified leads, sales qualified leads, all these kind of leads, and how to get them on inbound and come in. I'm going to simplify this entire inbound lead thing here and tell you that it is consistent, relevant content. And that is really what it comes down to. If you are doing a newsletter and you're slowly building that up, that newsletter must have relevant content. It must go out every single week on exactly the same day at exactly the same time. If you are doing a podcast, such as the CRM Zen Show, you must do it every single week, preferably at exactly the same time, and you drop consistent. It's just constant, consistent communication that is relevant to the people you are trying to target. This kind of gives you a whole bunch of ways of doing that, but honestly, you can kind of really simplify these kind of things, because if you can do that, then believe it or not, they will come. Your SEO, if you're committing to blogs, which you have to, consistent, relevant content in your blogs. And is there anything worse, Tyler, than when you go to a website and you're looking at a company, oh, this looks interesting, they've got a blog, and you click on it, and their last blog was, February of 2017, and you're like, probably should just take down the whole blog thing, right? Because there was no commitment to putting that content up. That probably just should have been a section of your website where you discuss, whatever that was in that blog. So if you're going to do these things, do it consistently, and that's kind of it. Anything to add on this?
And
Or?
important to note too that like, obviously with Zenatta, when we think inbound, we think content, right? Like we're more of an organic approach, but like pay-per-click advertising, programmatic advertising, that's also inbound. And I
Correct.
think this is kind of advice that we give to people pretty often when we're kind of going through their CRM, which is even if you are primarily focused on outbound right now, right? You buy sets of leads, you call them, you email them, you call them, right? The whole kind of prospecting flow. And maybe that's working for you right now. You should very strongly consider adding an inbound component to your lead flow because the challenge is other people are buying that same list, right? If someone sold it to you, they sold it to somebody else. They're getting called by every single one of your competitors. And when you take that type of approach, you are essentially exactly the same as everyone else that's calling them. The second part as well is that as data privacy laws continue to tighten up, you're not going to be able to do some of these outbound methods that you're able to do right now. A common one is the delineation between prospecting and spam, right? Is that if they're targeting you and they have some reasonable inclination that you might be interested. Like I get 10 emails a day from third-party software contractors that I've never opted in for, and technically it's not illegal and it's technically not spam. Do you want to bet on that being the case in 10 years? And as these laws continue to change, the US will end up with a GDPR like law that requires double opt-in. And so it's important to get ahead of this stuff, right?
I'm not
And
sure if they will. Based on the last election campaign, I think the politicians don't want that because they,
that's true.
they have to
That
spam
is
the
true.
heck out of
That
us
is
all
one
the
of the
time.
biggest offenders, I think, that spams me, at least on my personal account. Yeah, that spams me there. But yes, I mean, just consider adding this to your strategy. If you're not doing content, if you're not doing a little bit of programmatic ads, you probably should be. And so, make this part of your plan.
Yeah. And on the PPP side of inbound marketing, my goodness, that's super expensive and you really need to hire a pro to do it. It's going to be worth the time just to hire somebody to take a look, analyze your keywords, analyze your market, and you'll save way more money than just going out and trying to do it yourself because
Yeah.
one wrong keyword and your entire ad spend will go in about a half an hour.
Yep.
So there's so much to look at around that as you do it. So anyway, nice article from HubSpot. I don't know if we've talked about them in a while, but they've always got a great blog and very much worth checking out. All right. And with that, let's see what's over new on Zenatta. See what's over new on Zenatta. That was good English right there. Let's see what's new over on Zenatta. All right, 4 automated emails you should consider. So kind of a quick little blog about, oftentimes people are saying, man, we've got the CRM, we're not really using it, and we would really like to, get some automation. One of those things out of the gate is oftentimes just automating their emails. And so this is just kind of a quick tip. Personalizing those emails, status email updates, targeted emails, automated newsletters, just a few little ideas on things that you can do. Once you're just getting started in the whole automated email game. If you're linking this to Zoho campaigns, it's really gotten just the changes made in Zoho campaigns last year are so great. The things you can do with topics and really kind of breaking those things down and targeting your different people. So quick little article, but I think a valuable one, Tyler.
Yeah, and I think to tie it to the last one as well, like it's important to note that just because leads are coming inbound doesn't mean you're not going to automate communications to them. It just means that they are telling you they want them, right? That is a big difference. So it's not like all automated emails are bad, right? You can send emails to people that they like to receive, and hopefully you can set those up using Zoho.
Very, very nice. All righty. And with that, let's get on over to our tip of the week.
I love this video. I love this video so much.
So if you're watching us on YouTube, you're looking at the smiley face of Greg Belknap. He is what is Greg's title?
Director of Zoho Development at
Director
Zenatta.
of Zoho Development,
Basically our head chef on all things custom code and development.
Anyway, the first 30 seconds of this video is truly worth it just for the comedy. But if you do decide to dive into it, Greg is, even though he's going to warn you against it and wonder about your sanity, he's going to help you learn Deluge. And this is part of a series, evidently, he's doing, which is Getting Started with Deluge Part 1. And this is reading data, and well worth the watch. And the beginning of this is just like you said, I watched this morning, and I couldn't stop laughing. So anyway,
Yeah,
Greg,
well
great,
worth
great
it.
job on
Yeah,
that.
big push from us this year is kind of getting more of our team involved in making content. We've got lots of people that are specialized in all different types of places, and so hopefully you guys will be stuck with a little less of me on our weekly tips and trick videos here.
Yeah, and the team is, man, it's just been great. I mean, just to see everybody involved and everybody kind of getting out here and producing, and the quality of you guys are doing amazing jobs. Kudos to the marketing team for producing some of this stuff, make it look great, but everybody's doing a great job. I mean, it's nice. I mean, I don't think I've had to record a video in a very long time. I know you're still doing them, but it'd be nice, if we just get the rest of the people doing it. It's amazing how much talent's out there. And if you haven't, please head over to youtube.com/Zenatta. That is where we keep all of our videos. We would love it if you would subscribe. Evidently, Greg gets a bonus if you do. I just saw that on the last video. But we would love it if you subscribe, click the bell, join our community. Wow, look at this, 8,460 plus subscribers. That is, we just clicked 8,000 at the end of the year, didn't we?
I think so,
Something like
something
that.
like that.
Wow, that's a heck of a ramp up. Anyway, we are coming up on 10,000 subscribers, and we want to appreciate everybody for their support. Every video we have, every tutorial that we have, every webinar we do, every CRM Zen show, they are all here. And just drop on in and enjoy and find what you're looking for in the world of Zoho. And with that, we're going to wrap the show and jump over to some Q&A. All right, Tyler, our first question is a YouTube question. It's after watching Deluge to create a pre-populated form URL, Zoho CRM implementation 2020. We're going
This is an
way
old
back in
one.
time here.
Do you
Um,
remember? So this is from so far back that I used to record a video each week separately on the implementation and walk through the specific code. This is a
yeah,
long time back. So Omkar's question is about the deluge to create pre-populated form URLs. Can we add data in a subform also from the URL? Unfortunately, we cannot. So when you are pre-filling Zoho forms, you can do basically every field other than subforms. I think the only other way to do that, I think, Omkar, would be some type of creator-based implementation where you're adding a record and then creating a form URL off of that. But unfortunately, not natively inside of Zoho forms.
got it. All righty. And then moving right along, Peter Rock Design, after watching Zoho Project's full product tutorial 2022, asked, why are there no videos that show how to set thing confusing Zoho products for employees? Peter, run that through a spell check next time, man. Because that's a confusing question. But what do you think? You asking here
I mean,
for
we try in our full product overviews to keep things more high level, right? So kind of like an overall kind of walkthrough of a specific application. If there are things that are particularly confusing, we're always happy to make videos on them. So Peter, maybe give us an idea or two of what you're looking for, and we could see if we could fit it into the schedule here.
yeah, and just head over to Club Z, hit the ask a question button or videos you'd like to see button. We've got two little forms over there. Drop those in and we will try to help you out. All righty. All right, and then Jacob, after watching the CRM Zen Show, episode 232, Mind Your Z's and Q's. By the way, great job, Josh, last week for filling in. Greatly appreciate it. He asked, thanks for another valuable video. I signed up for the club and was looking for the code which you mentioned in one of your previous videos about the status update and click when any org user is on a Zoom call. Would be great if you can share a tutorial or share the script if possible. I know
So yeah,
we
this
can let you know
script,
when a call started. Are we doing a
yeah.
status up? We'll be able to pull that
This
in?
this script, we were never able to get the status update to work consistently. I think, Jacob, you're probably thinking like in Zoho meetings, when someone's on a meeting, it kind of like updates their click status automatically. Unfortunately, via API, we were not able to update a particular user's status. It's only doable as that user yourself. What we ended up doing instead is we built a little bot. I think the bot lives in Click. Maybe Greg or Josh, you can let me know in chat if I'm wrong and it actually lives somewhere else. But the bot essentially does one main thing, which is if I, ask the bot, is Brett on a meeting? It'll say, yes, he is. And then it will ping me again when he's not. And that actually does integrate over to Zoom because we can check the status there. But unfortunately, we were just not able to get it to actually write to the click user status.
Is that the Zoomy bot?
Zoomy, yep.
Yes.
Zoomy will also send the automated recordings as well.
Yeah. And it also lets you know when a meeting started. So
Yep.
oftentimes you're in a meeting, you get a little thing and click that goes, hey, this meeting started. So there is some value there. I don't know if we can publish that code or not, or maybe we'll look into it.
I'm not sure how complicated. It might be a whole guide.
Yeah.
It's probably more than a code snippet. It probably lives a couple different places.
All right. And Sunil, after watching our Zoho Recruit Creating Forms and Assessment Tutorial 2021, asks, hi, thank you for your video on how to create and send an offer letter to candidate from Zoho Recruit. I think was a period missing here, but it's hi, thank you for the video. Can you do a video on how to create and send an offer letter to a candidate from Zoho Recruit? Absolutely, we can.
Yeah, good request. We can probably get that onto the list. That'd be a good one to have in there. It's pretty similar to CRM if we've got a video on that in the meantime. But yeah, thank you for the recommendation. That'd be a good little 10-minute video.
Appreciate it, Sunil. All right, and then wrapping it up from at least from the Club Z, from a Q&A here. I don't know if we have any questions in the chat room, but over to Club Z, Karen asked, I created a custom module. The downside is that the CRM calendar booking does not show in invited meetings for each client as it does in the contacts module. Does anyone know how the Deluge code needed to permit me to have a client book an appointment via a link that I send them an email and have the appointment show up in the custom module? I would think that's very doable, Tyler.
Yeah, there's kind of like two key things, Karen, on this is that meetings can show up in like two different ways. Let's say let's say a given contact record. So it can show up under the activities, and that's just via like a standard lookup. Each meeting has, not to get too technical, but like a who and a what lookup, where the who would normally be the contact. And that's what'll have it show up in that like open activities or completed activities list. The participants is different. So the invited participants, I believe, unless again someone tells me I'm wrong in chat, I think you have to pass that as a lead or a contact, or just like an email that does not end up linking through a related list. So what I've done in the past to connect meetings to custom modules is I've used the what ID, and you can assign that as like a custom module. And then that would then show up under the related list. The downside is that if you have all these people in contacts, you could have more than one via that invited participants. But when you're doing it to a custom module, it's really only going to be able to link to one record. So a lot of times what I'll do is, run a deluge function when the meeting comes in. Then I need to look for something in the meeting that connects me to that individual record. So an ID, an email, something like that. Use it to search, come back with the ID, and then you can create that lookup and connect the two.
Fantastic. All right, Tyler, and I think that's going to wrap it up. So really want to thank everybody for your questions and for supporting us. And if you want to get a hold of Tyler and myself, you can head over to Zenatta.com and click on Book a Meeting. And as we've mentioned several times, if you want to participate in our community, head over to club.zenatta.com.
And on the website is where you'll find complete episodes of the show, as well as links to all the stories we discussed today. We'd love if you would follow us on your favorite social media platform and subscribe to us here on YouTube, as well as your choice of podcast app. We'll see you next Friday.
Thanks, everybody. Very nice. All right, everyone, have a great weekend.
Happy Friday.
Happy 2023. The year rolls on. Take care, everyone.